Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, have you ever heard the expression, the perfect is the enemy of the good? It's a really, I think, a profound statement that I certainly take to heart when it comes to Tai Chi and other physical practices, because it's so easy in our culture of right, wrong, good, bad, hierarchical thinking, who's the best, competition. None of those things are bad, but if they're out of balance, we can become obsessed with trying to perfect ourselves, with trying to do things exactly right, with trying to nail down the form and kind of the, in some ways, the superficial structures of what we're doing, and we can lose sight of the bigger picture. We can lose sight of the core principles of the art. We can get too obsessed with specific training games and not enough on their application in the wider, less predictable, crazy world of everyday life. I like to distinguish between the temple and the street. The temple is a symbol in my mind of sequestered time that's consecrated to the study of something specific. The street is unpredictable, the context is complicated, things are changing all the time, and that's the messy real world. The temple is a good place to learn things because you don't have the distraction of the complicated context and dangers of the street. That's why monasteries are simple. They're not cluttered. You go there, everything is dedicated to whatever that monastery is dedicated to. This monastery is dedicated to balance and Tai Chi. Some other monastery might be dedicated to something different, but in the monastery you work on the principles, and in the world you execute them. So if you're too focused on the form, or let's be personal, if I'm too focused on the form of what I do in the monastery, then I'm going to be trying to make that form work in the world. I'm going to try to enforce that form mentality on the world, and I'm also going to spend a huge amount of energy perfecting that form, especially the last 5, 10, 15, 20%. Getting yourself 80% in the ballpark of something is hard enough, but that last 20, trying to be absolutely perfect so that you get a 10.0 from the Chinese judge in the Olympics or whatever, or competitions, getting that last little level of form perfection is expensive. It takes a lot of time and energy for most people. And honestly, for me, it would just be barking up the wrong tree. I don't care about form perfection. This is not an entertainment art. This is not a performance art. This is a personal practice. And in that practice, if I'm 80% there as far as the form is concerned, that's enough for me to learn from the form. The form's not the Tai Chi. The form is the container, the playground. A playground isn't play. An instrument isn't music. Scales and the notes on paper are still not music. They have to be breathed into life, and that means it's in a specific place with specific acoustics, and there's different people there in a different environment, and every day your nervous system is a little different. On paper, it's always the same. On the street or when you're playing, it's always different. So you have to breathe new life into that thing if it's to be actually called music. So what this means is that the perfect is the enemy of the good means that striving for absolute perfection can take energy away from the good of what you're doing, the whole purpose and intent of what you're doing, or what I'm doing. So when I'm doing Tai Chi, I'm striving for the best alignment that I can get. I'm striving for the softest, most relaxed muscles that I can have, and the loosest, most open joints that I can have most of the time. I mean, there are also times when I'm striving for a momentary firmness, but I'm trying to get in the ballpark. I did another video called The Zone of Correctness, where I'm not trying to get this absolutely the same every time. It depends on my training game. It depends on my training goal. If I'm thinking about this movement as a throw, I'm getting under somebody and throwing them over. If I'm thinking of this movement as a shoulder, elbow, forearm, or edge of my hand strike, I'm thinking of a whole different pathway. I'm not lifting and throwing, I'm striking. If my legs are really tired, if I worked out like crazy, or if I have any injury or soreness or strain down here, I'm not going to go as low. I'm not going to be thinking of a super low stance. If I'm feeling like I got some energy to burn, I might go a little bit lower. One day I might do it with more attention to flow and feeling like I just want to feel my whole body just work through that range. Another day, attention to posture and alignment and doing it slowly and feeling my way through it and letting gravity shape me into the most aligned position that I can find. So every time I do the form, it's going to be a little different. I'm not aiming for one set way every single time. I've seen competitions where people who never met each other compete together side by side in front of the judges. They do the form, even though they've never met. Their form ends at exactly 7 minutes, 53 seconds or whatever. They've got it all timed down to the second. And you know, I'm always saying that's not bad for you. Probably much better than watching a whole bunch of television. But to me, that just prepares you to do the form better. And all it means is that you're really good at doing a form. It does not necessarily translate into daily life because none of those movements are going to be demanded of you in daily life. None of them. You're never going to be in a single whip position. In fact, I would say single whip doesn't work, but it can work for you. Push-ups don't work in a fight either. Neither do pull-ups, neither do kettlebells, neither do any of that stuff. Those things don't work in the fight, but what you get from them can work in a fight or in a daily life situation where you're called upon to act quickly and decisively. So instead of thinking of form perfection, I'm just looking at, you know, what's the biggest thing that's out. If my elbows are out a little bit, I just want to relax them a little bit. That's close enough. When you get into the minutia of perfection, yeah, you get better at doing forms, but I don't want a form that's perfect. I want a form that's ready. Like, I want to be ready for things that aren't the form. I want this to prepare me for something that's not the form. I don't want to be locked into a straitjacket so that I'm in here and I have to break out of this in order to do something. I also want to don't be like a huge dude in a hammock sunk to the very bottom and, oh, I got to get up out of this thing in order to move. I want a blend of the two. I want to be heavy like the guy in the hammock, and I want to be light and soft and mobile at the same time, and I want to be ready to move, ready to do an ordinary motion. Even in a balance move like something like this, and I'm all, in a definite range position, I want to be able to leave that at a second's notice and do something else from here to here, I want to be able to move and move around. So for me, perfection is the enemy of that. If I'm striving for the absolute perfect set posture here, I got to break out of that in order to move. So I'm looking for 80-85% of what's possible for me, just kind of, or maybe what's possible, period, I don't know. Just trying to be in the ballpark of that move, but when I go on to the next move, it's what I learn about, not so much the striving for perfection. Same with music. I mean, there are people who play flawlessly who don't move me at all because they're so perfect. They have so much energy, attention to the perfect that they've strangled the good. They've strangled the intention and feeling out of the music. And then there are other people I've seen who never ever play the song all the way through perfectly. They always make mistakes. Mistakes of pitch, mistakes of timing, mistakes of rhythm, and yet they're totally engaging and their spirit trumps all of that stuff, and I'm moved by them and engaged by them every single time I see them play. And they never get through the song without screwing up. And yet I'm totally there with them. Other people play absolutely flawlessly and I'm bored. I'm not bored, but I'm not moved. So that's my little pitch for perfection is the enemy of the good. So be careful about how perfect you're trying to make something and put more emphasis on just being in the ballpark of the good stuff that is your art, the feeling of the song, the balanced, ready Tai Chi state in your body. If you're obsessing about perfect, it also takes a lot of time, as I said. So if you're writing a paper or doing carpentry or doing, building something, yes, by all means, measure 3 times, cut once, get it as close as you can. But if you pull out the microscope for every cut of the wood and try to make it absolutely perfect, you might be strangling the good out of your building, and you might be spending too much time doing that, and you'll miss something else. So keep the big picture in mind, and I hope this is helpful. That's why I make these videos, to be helpful. If they are helpful, let me know in the comments. It's always nice to hear. I also have a tip jar down there in the description for all my videos. You can subscribe to this channel if you wish. Also visit GeneBurnett.com for more information about me and all the stuff I do. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it, and have a great day. Good luck with your practice.